Good morning, everybody, especially Brady Metter. Good morning for being the first brap. Nice work, dude. Uh, oh man, I had a hard time getting out of bed this morning. It was rough. Oh my gosh. So, mainly just because I've been working like crazy. Yes, Jimmy Neihart. We have been so busy at the shop, and it's so awesome having Leandra there. Mrs. Sheets is, first of all, a very bright individual who is learning very quickly and taking care of lots of things, which is awesome. But also, she really enjoys giving Zach a very hard time. Oh man, is it fun? I'm going to try to get some of that on camera eventually. It's hard to catch that, but it's hilarious. Chris Cooley, Nick Robinson, how's it going? I hope everybody has their cup of coffee. If you drink coffee, Brady, I hope you have your Dr. Pepper. Kim Jackson, what's happening? There's my mom, Suzanne Spradling. Hi, Mama. I love you. Oh, this is my second cup of coffee, and yeah, it's gonna be awesome. So, what else is going on? Oh, quick conditions report. It has not rained in the last 4 or 5 days, but it has been actually nice and cool, like highs in the low 80s, high 70s. Shannon Hensley, what's happening? So that's actually been quite nice. People have been out in the Adobes riding, which is rare for this time of year. Bruce Kennedy, glad that the coffee's hot. Tom Height, how's it going? Yeah, conditions are, it's getting dusty again, but it is at least stayed nice and cool. And I think the plateau's actually gotten a little bit of rain. So Brady Metter, no more Dr. Pepper for you. Is that because of your leg situation? If so, that's awesome, dude. I hate that it might, the uncomfort and whatever. I hate that part of it, but it'd be awesome if it helps you get in shape and then ride a lot more. Mom's still getting rain. Yeah, down in Oklahoma. Mike Klinger, what's happening? John Rabacki, how's it going? Husa Islander, how's it going? Happy Canada Day. I was going to say, I was going to mention that, Husa, because our wonderful patron, Paul Ansey, is actually not going to be here. It's the first Gospel Two Wheels he's missed in over a year because it's Canada Day, and he is going to go ride his dirt bike and clear trails. Bike Vault, what's happening from Thailand? Dude named Eric, how you doing? Brady Metter, you need to get your attitude adjusted is what you need. That will be the best. Oh, man. So, yeah, conditions are actually not nearly as dusty and stuff as they were a while back. But is it dusty in Thailand? That's crazy. In my mind, Thailand is always shrouded in a mist, but I don't know why. Patrick Beatty, how's it going? Oh my gosh, it is. It's starting to. The temperature is going to start to climb again. So that's well, it is what it is. So tonight, Thursday night ride is officially going to the Buck Trail. I can say that because now all the trails on the plateau are officially open as of here right now. July 1, everything opens up. We have been on those trails early with the chainsaw cutting them. We have a kind of a special agreement with the Forest Service that if we're cutting trails, they let us kind of jump in there a bit early and get things done. That unfortunately might be changing. Hopefully we're going to get that sorted out, but there's a little bit of a conflict with the DOW, or excuse me, CPW is what they call themselves now. And anyway, so we're trying to work that out, but through this year, it's been fine as long as we were cutting trails and doing good stuff and staying on the trail, not doing bad things. They were letting us get up there a little early. So anyway, Jeff Elmore from Gunny, what's happening? Just be glad I'm not in Portland. I'm always glad I'm not in Portland, Mom, with the way things are up there. So anyway, yeah, Buck Trail head. We're going to head out there, go ride, do a nice, decent loop, and have a ton of fun. And as my mom says, remember to hit the thumbs up. If you're new here on the channel or new to the live show, to hit the thumbs up, you have to back out of the live chat hit the thumbs up and then come back into the live chat. So, or if you don't want to give us a thumbs up, that's fine. I would greatly appreciate it. Anyway, welcome to the Gospel of Two Wheels, number 139, where the coffee's hot, the bikes are fast, and your bikes are absolutely ridiculous. Great to be here, guys. I love you. I love spending my Thursday mornings with you guys and girls. It's just a lot of fun. If you're Brady's giving thumbs down. If you're new here in the live world, this is our Thursday morning show, and we have a lot of fun. I try to answer questions. We have a great brain trust of people who watch regularly, who know even more than I do about dirt bikes. So if you have a question, make sure you ask it, and we will try to do our best to answer it. If you're watching this later, not live, also, please ask a question. No big deal. I try to answer all the questions that come up on the YouTube comments, especially early in its run on YouTube. As things get older and lots of views and lots of comments, eventually I can't answer them all. But so yeah, if you have a question, please answer it. Hey, Matt Simpson, what's happening, man? Are you going to be in Sargent's this weekend? Jimmy and I are brain trust, definitely not part of the. Yeah, that's awesome. Brady, I know you're joking and giving me a hard time, and that is, but anyway. Jim Nash, what is up, my man? My tiny legged man. What's happening, dude? Travis E, how are you? Jim Nash, how are you been, man? By the way, Jim, if you haven't been watching or paying attention, episode 4 of the Ride the World Series of Awesomeness is going to be in mile markers, Arizona. So we need to talk about you maybe doing some trail guiding. I have a couple questions here from the internet for the show. Scott Kramer. It's Bruce Kennedy versus. Are you seeing any improvements on parts availability since the COVID thing? Bruce, I wouldn't say improvement, like across the board improvement. It's just switching. Like some things are available now that weren't, and other things aren't that were. It's just, it's stupid. So I would not call it an improvement. I would just call it a shift in what's available. So Jimmy Nair, Arizona is going to be, I'm probably going to try to do it for New Year's because we did that last year and it was just perfect. It was a lot of fun. So it definitely early January. I need to hit New Year's-ish so that I can not worry too much about taking the time off of work, but then also get the boys down there with me because school and stuff like that. So Jim, been busy building 2 spec homes. Just want to know what it's like to use $70. Oh my God. $70 OSB is crazy. So let me answer the question from Scott Kramer. What's your opinion on a Nitro Moose on a WR250R dual sport? I really only ride roads to get to dirt, no commuting. So Scott, my initial thought, and you guys can chime in, is that I still wouldn't do it. Even though you're only going down pavement for a short time, I'm guessing on your dual sport, you're still doing mainly gravel roads and a little bit higher speed stuff. And I'm not saying 70 miles an hour, but also not 10 to 15 on a single track trail. And let me back up. So if money is no object, I say absolutely 100% do it because the only downside to running them on a bike that goes faster is that they wear out fast. I mean, it doesn't I'm guessing on a WR250R, you're probably not doing Dakar speeds and worried about the tire coming off the rim when it gets to, anyway. So you're just going to run through mooses. But if a budget is a concern, I think that probably the mooses aren't going to hold up well, even if you're doing 40, 50 miles an hour for a lot on the dirt roads. They just get hot. But the other thing, Scott, is I would say just try it. the worst case scenario is that you spend $260, you get them mounted up, and you only get one tire's worth out of them, and then you don't go back to them. I know it's kind of a lot of money to just waste. Well, it's not, but it won't be wasted because you'll at least get some worry-free riding out of the whole thing. So, but my guess is that they probably won't hold up all that well. Tim Bryson, what's happening? Jimmy Nyhart, my baby mom, wants to see her firstborn. He's out there. That's awesome. Jimmy Nyhart, you should come. Let's see. I have one other. Anybody else chime in? I don't know. Does anybody else run one on a WR250R? And if you don't know what a WR250R is, it's not the normal WR250F that, trail bike with lights and stuff like that. It's definitely a more dual sport made bike. Still, it's pretty lightweight, and low horsepower, so it's probably not going to chew the tires up that bad. But anyway, my opinion is that you might find that they wear out a little fast for you. Okay. I think Jesse Lycia, I think is what it is on Instagram, has chimed in with a question for today. Is there anything you practice on to help with racing? Honestly, the best thing you can do to help with racing is practicing. For me, okay, this is for me. First of all, physical fitness, get in shape so you don't have whatever, you don't wear out. But then also really work on fundamentals, any kind of fundamental, figure eight stuff, turn track stuff where you're not going fast, but like keeping the wheels in the track and trying to be really precise, and just hammering that stuff over and over again. I don't do nearly enough of that because I like to just go ride, but that is like practicing fundamentals is a huge way to get faster for racing. Chris Cooley, where are we riding Saturday morning in Sargents? I don't know. I'm going to ride with my buddy Jeremy, so that's up to him. Let's see. Kevin O'Laughlin, cheaper to learn how to change a tube on the trail. Fair enough. Absolutely less money with tubes. But again, maybe it's not a budget's not a problem. Let's see. Brady Metter, bibs always for the win. Yes. Mooses. I mean, you won't go flat. So there's that. Going to be doing a maintenance top end soon on RM. This is Travis E. Is it mandatory to disassemble the power valve completely to clean it up? No, it's not mandatory. If you've watched a couple of my videos on my own bikes, especially the 125 top end, I didn't take the power valve apart. The thing was clean. It was moving perfectly. It was shiny. It was, it had some, carbon on it, whatever, but it looked like it had been run. But I didn't take it apart because it was moving perfectly, and I just didn't want to mess with it. So it made that job way shorter. So Travis, I would say that if you get it apart and the thing is moving smoothly, cleanly, no problems, then it's up to you. But it's definitely not mandatory. Matt Simpson, who wants to change a tire on the trail? Not this guy. I agree. That's my favorite answer to that question because it's the last thing I want to do. I think for hard enduro, you need to do yoga. You need to be able to get your knee to touch your ear. Right on bike vault. That's awesome. That Play the Life 2 wheel sets. Great way to go. Also having a moose set and then a non-moose set. I would say though that this WR250R is not a race bike at all. It's a heavy, relatively heavy for it because compared to the WR250F, it's quite a bit heavier, and it's definitely way more set up for dual sporty stuff. The suspension isn't as anyway. So, but it's a great bike, but not a race bike, not a hard enduro bike. So one wheel set anyway. Jimmy Dyer, hard enduro training, just take the plug out, drain your bike and drag your bike around the block. Oh, I love it, Jimmy. That's awesome. Richard Croft, hi from UK. Please hello to Angela Croft. Who I don't know. Angela, do I know Angela Croft? I don't know. But hey, Richard, how's it going? Angela Croft. I don't know unless I don't know who that is. So, but I will say it if I see her. Craig Hamilton tore my AC joint in my shoulder riding last Sunday. Inexperienced with this injury. Oh, yes, Craig Hamilton. I have messed up both AC joints and shoulders. I can say, Craig, that it is a slow recovery to be completely pain-free. But I can also say that if for me, it didn't really affect the strength of my shoulder joint. Like I could move and hold and pull things. It just hurt. So I got back on the bike pretty quickly. Both times were pretty big get-offs, and I took a little bit of time off. But I remember one of the worst ones, and it hurt. That I had a huge get-off trying to keep up with Fritz Cadlick. If you guys know who Fritz is, you should know that I should not have been trying to keep up with him especially back then. That was quite a few years ago when I was still really learning how to ride. And anyway, and I had a huge get off. I was young though, so I was probably 28, 27, 28, something like that. Like I just started riding. I started when I was 26. So I got off. I hit my head really hard, had a mild concussion, went to the hospital actually because it really rung my bell. They, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, you got a concussion, take a week off the bike. And I'm like, just a week? He's like, yep, week. Okay. And I looked at my wife. I'm like, well, that's good because I have a race in 8 days. So my amazingly understanding and very patient wife looked at me shaking her head. Like, ah. So I was back on the bike racing 8 days later. So, and it hurt like crazy, but it also, like, it didn't affect the strength of the joint. So that's how mine have been. I've done both. I think one of them was like a 3rd degree. It was pretty bad. The other one was not so bad, but, Chris Cooley, my dad talks about racing Fritz all the time. He sounds like a legend. Chris, he is a legend. The Fritz Cadlick is an absolute legend. He was my boss for a while in Gunnison, and he's 9 times 6 days, 6 gold medals, top American 1 year, just a world-class rider. He doesn't ride so much anymore. He had both of his ankles replaced, which is kind of crazy. I didn't know if you could even do that. Yeah, Bruce Kennedy, imagine in my head my bell rung, go figure. I started my concussion career at a very young age. So, yeah, I've hit my head plenty of times. But I maintain that I have enough room around my brain because it's so small that it doesn't really get hurt that bad. There's it's a tiny little brain in there, and my head, it's not giant, but there's plenty of room for that thing to slosh around and not cause any real damage. That's why I can still remember my name. I don't have any other questions from the interwebs. By the way, guys, if you don't follow us on social media, you should, because it's a lot of fun. But then also, it's the best way to make sure you get an answer or a question answered, especially a well thought out answer, because I usually get the questions the night before, early the morning of, and I can actually think about it. Or if I need to do any research, I can do that. So, yeah. Anyway, I post a thing on both Instagram and Facebook saying, if you got a question for tomorrow morning show. Anyway, so whatever. What else? What else you guys want to talk about? By the way, Chris Kinberg, what's happening? And yes, it does explain a lot. Let's see. Gary M., how's it going, man? You're going to be up here not too long, right? We're going to see you hopefully soon up here in the Colorados, which would be awesome. So, yeah, this Saturday, riding Sergeants with my buddy Jeremy. It's going to be a lot of fun. It is a tradition to go right over there on 4th of July weekend. Unfortunately, I will not be able to do camp out because we got stuff going on here for the 4th. But anyway, I will be over there to ride in the morning. Oh yeah, Kim Jackson. That's great. So Kim Jackson says, say a little more about the Covco. Yeah, she got an R in there, but it's Colorado Off-Highway Vehicle Coalition bike. So yeah, so my friend Robbie Noyles, who has been incredibly generous to us for a long time anyway, has donated a 2012 KTM 350 XCF to, I think it's an XCF, maybe it's a W, but anyway, I guess I should figure that out. It's a W. Now I know for sure in my mind. Anyway, XCW to Covco, and I am throwing in my labor and $1,000 worth of parts for the motor to get this thing completely dialed in and set up like brand new motor, ready to rock and roll. And then Covco is going to take it and a trailer and hopefully a kid's bike. If someone knows of a kid's bike for sale for a decent deal or one that's blown up that I can help fix or whatever, we're going to take all of that, package it up as like an adventure package and raffle it off to raise money for Covco. And what Covco does is they're a nonprofit that helps fight for our rights as motorized users. And they do an amazing job. Between them and the TPA, they do a really, really great job at helping keep motorized trails motorized and keep access open for us. So, hey, Biker Sasquatch, what's happening, Kyle? So the Bruce Kenny, that's so funny. Sorry, Bruce made a hilarious comment. So yeah, so last night, if you guys haven't seen it yet, I've put the video up already. But last night I got the motor out of the frame and took the top end off. The reason we're doing any of this is that Robbie bought the bike from a guy who was changing oil on the motorcycle, and when he did, spring came out on the magnet on the drain plug that looks like the spring from a seal. And someone actually had a great comment that it looked like the seal or spring from countershaft seal, and that is definitely a possibility. That would make a lot of sense. So, and also be a good thing because it would mean nothing bad like blew up. And the bike was running. No big deal. He was just changing the oil just to change the oil. So, but he saw that, got freaked out, sold the bike. Robbie donated it. It was really cool. So, Bike Vault, I don't think that they will ship it to Thailand, unfortunately. My mom says I keep pausing. Hang on, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm not on the 5G network that I'm normally on. So everybody, 1 second, we're going to switch networks. All right. Should be good now. All right. Hopefully I'm not pausing anymore. Bruce Kennedy, maybe include a saw and saw mount in the auction for future tree cutting. Contact your mount and saw dealers. Yeah, Bruce, that's a great idea. And I will actually pass on the line up to Covco. I am, as you can imagine, super, super busy. So I don't really have time to try to reach out to sponsors, but I will pass it on to Matt because that's a great idea. And the saw dealer still, I don't see them giving us a big either discount or a free saw. They're kind of giant. But the cool thing is, if you guys are interested in helping sponsor this program of this raffle to help raise money for Covco, you can go to Covco, COVHCO.com, I think. Anyway, just look, you can Google it. And you can go there and I don't know if they have a link, but you can email Matt and get dialed in and help, because that could help buy the saw mount and saw, which would be a great idea. I think that's a great idea. Let's see. Mike Van Sluis, question. I rode my rear brake until it went totally squish. Stopped using it, and when it cooled, it seems to work fine. Is there anything I should check to be sure? Mike, that is a very, very, very common problem. you need to bleed those brakes and get that old fluid out because what you did was you drug that brake long enough, built up enough heat that it actually boiled the fluid, and that's what introduced the air that made it squishy. And then when it cooled down, that air bled back out, and it seems fine. And it is fine right now, but it will be eventually. It will, it's degraded. It will boil earlier now. It won't. It doesn't have the same boiling point as it used to. So you need to bleed that out, and then you need to. Either lower your brake pedal so that your foot's not dragging on it more, or think about it, I guess, don't do that. And then also I like to run a brake cooler from System Tech Racing. If you check that out, systemtechracing.com. John Bruckbauer here in Colorado makes these really cool caliper coolers that actually work. I didn't believe in them for a long time. I started running them, and I'm a firm believer. The other thing, Michael, is that if your pads start to get really low, you'll transfer more heat into the caliper that makes it boil faster too. So those are all things you should check. Also, your pads could be glazed from getting that hot. I love this comment from Brady and from Bruce. This is my favorite. So Brady says, you can't be that busy. You are still riding 3 to 5 days a week. And Bruce says, yeah, Brady, that riding is cutting into business, LOL. So yeah, that's part of me being busy is riding. And I am unashamed about that. Part of my busyness is the fact that I ride a lot, because I ride with my kids, I ride with my customers, and I ride for my mental health. So yeah, I ride a ton, and that is part of being busy. So yeah, that's part of the deal. And I'm not gonna give it back. Like that's I think I made this comment to Bruce at one point. I have engineered my life to be exactly like it is, and I could not be happier with it. So it's taken a lot of years to be able to ride and goof off as much as I do. So there we go. That's awesome. Chad Mann says that worked great on Colleen's bike. She overheated her back brakes all the time and fixed it. So yeah, Chad's a local here, and that brake cooler is awesome. So Mike, definitely check out systemtechracing.com. Well, as long as you're on a KTM, he doesn't make them for Japanese brands, unfortunately. But personally, I never had a problem with Yamaha back brakes boiling. I just never had an issue. So. John McCarlisle. Anyway, great stuff you're doing. Also, love little AVE references. Yes, he is a jewel. Thanks for providing so much free info for us riders. You bet, John. And yeah, like I am a huge fan of AVEs. If you guys haven't checked out AVE, it's A_VE on the YouTubes here, and he is brilliant. And that when I am yelling for my camera to focus, that is that's the reference he's mostly talking about. Jimmy Nahart, ride more. We will be dead soon anyway. Kid's just going to sell your stuff at the yard sale with you in a jar. I agree. Bruce Kennedy, so is the mental health improving? Oh, yeah. My mental health is improving daily. So, yeah, all the time. Am I smarter? No. Am I a better businessman? No. But like my fulfillment and happiness is up. Obviously, I struggle like everyone else with that kind of stuff. But if you had known me 10 years ago, Bruce, I'm a very, very different human. Most of the people here didn't know me 10 years ago. Because I definitely didn't have a social media presence like I do now, and yeah, I was an ugly person. So, and Matt Simpson, I love it. Brakes just slow you down. It's the coward levers. Tom the Battle Axe, bleeding brakes and clutch regularly are good habits to have. Prevents fading for everything. Yes, Tom the Battle Axe. Yes, it does. I agree. Bleeding brakes and keeping that fluid fresh and water free, because I mean they engineer brake fluid to not collect water. Some of it, Harleys, they like to collect water. But anyway, their brake fluid that they use. And they engineer it to not boil until very high temperatures, but it's amazing how hot your brakes can get when you're riding. And I just so quick plug, not sponsored by them at all, but the Motul RBF 600 is my favorite. It is like, yeah, I love that brake fluid. And they make a super version of it that I haven't used, but the normal RBF 600 has a very high boiling point, and it was amazing. Michael, I admit I wrote it like a grandma. No offense, Mama Spradling. Oh, don't worry, Michael. My mom will not be offended, and she is not like most grandmothers. And she also doesn't ride dirt bikes, but Brady Metter likes to go slow, so his brakes stay nice and cool. So yeah, one thing, Mike, that I have done for quite a few folks that come in with lots of brake problems. Tony Andrews, what's happening, man? Is get that pedal moved, because a lot of people just don't know. So I don't know, maybe we'll take a quick second to talk about bike setup. When you buy a motorcycle, whether it be used or brand new or whatever, and you get on it and ride it, where the levers are, the pedal for the brake, all that is all subjective. Like, you don't have to leave it where it was set. And I know a lot of you guys know this. I mean, a lot of you guys have been riding forever, and so like you whatever. But for the people, excuse me, that don't know or don't think about it, setting your bike up, just the controls and all that, is hugely important for both enjoyment and speed and longevity of parts like brakes. And actually, I just had a kid the other day come in, and his bike, the brake pedal was way high. He had a nice new TC85. I mean, newish. And it was a beautiful motorcycle, but he'd smoked his rear brakes. And I looked at it, and the brake pedal was like way higher than the foot peg. And I was like, do you like running it like this? He's like, I didn't. I just whatever. So so I'm like, so you don't, he's like, yeah, okay. Well, so I lowered his pedal and got it down to where it wasn't just dragging it, just standing on the thing. And he's been super happy with it, and really happy. It takes a little bit to get used to, because now it's lower, so it takes a little more effort to push down and stop. But think about that. Like, move things around and get it to where it really makes sense for you, because everybody rides a little different, whether you sit down, stand up, lean forward, lean back, whatever. It all changes where the things are. So Tom Battleaxe, I'll add to that. .4 often has better specs than 5.1, even though it's supposedly better. Yeah. RBF 600 and Summit Racing actually sells the same stuff, rebranded with their label. Ooh, that's nice to know. Is the Summit Racing stuff cheaper? Because that would be a great thing to know. Chris Kinberg, 4-stroke riders use engine braking plus that are so slow anyways, they don't need to use brakes. Yes. Oh, I love it. Chris Kinberg, thank you so much. That was awesome. Brady, I add a couple of clicks to my brake pedals rebound adjuster. Works great. That is awesome. Oh, it's so good. I love you guys so much. We're getting close to 8 o'clock. Hey, if you're watching this and you're enjoying this, make sure you hit the thumbs up. Also, if you're brand new here and you're like, what is this thing? Consider subscribing to the channel. We're doing lots of cool stuff. Actually, I'm going to have a bunch of videos coming out soon. I just did fork seals on a Honda Transalp, a 1989. That was cool. So I filmed that. It's pretty awesome. So we'll have an in-depth video of that. The schlogs are coming along like always. Lots of ride videos, as always, just to upset Brady, just to poke the bear. Yeah, man, things are good. So we'll take one more question here on the line if you guys have one. Let's see, Bruce Kennedy, having had Shane Watts here a dozen times, he rides with brake on all the time, rides my bike here, then boils fluid 2 days, pads or toast. And why he said, Isaac, why? When Bruce asked why, he said, I don't want to die. Brady Metter, you're so funny. So Shane, I watched a video, Bruce Kennedy, of Shane riding skinny ridge up in Grand Junction. It's this super skinny ridge up in the Adobes, and he was going like 1,000 miles an hour. And at the end of it, he like got off and was pouring water on his rear brakes. They were so stinking hot. Summit.4. Okay, cool, Tom. The Battle Axe. I will check that out. That is awesome. All right, guys, it's 8:01. I got a boogie. I have seriously a ton of work to do so that I can go ride tonight. I love you guys so much. Croc Club, thanks for sticking around to the end. You know I love you guys the most. I love this channel. I love you guys. I love dirt bikes. I hope you guys get out, spread the gospel of two wheels. And as always, I desperately hope that what we're doing here at Highland Cycles is inspiring you guys to work on and get out and ride your dirt bikes.